Friday, June 11th, and this is Small Town News. Our first story is about Renaissance. The Renaissance was a cultural movement that spread roughly from the 14th to the 17th century, beginning in Florence in the Middle Ages, and later spread it to the rest of Europe. As a cultural movement, it accomplished a resource of learning based on classic sources. Most historians agreed that the ideas that characterized the Renaissance had their own origin that late 13th century in Florence, and particularly with the writings of Dante and Francisco Pederia, as well as the painting of Ghetto Diambone. Characteristic of this study was humanism, art, science, religion, self-awareness. The spread of the countries that was involved: Hungary, Poland, Germany, France, England, Italy, Spain, and Portugal. The shout-out of the day: what continent was involved in the Renaissance? A, United States, B, Europe, C, Antarctica, D, none of the above. B.
Europe.
Europe, yeah.
Okay. The next story is about the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution spread from the 18th century to the 19th century. The onset of the Industrial Revolution marked a turning point in life. It was machine-based manufacturing transitioned in parts into the early 18th century in Great Britain. Textile was started in mechanization. Coal and water wheels were a big part to help it. The effects spread throughout Western Europe and North America. Some people believe that it started because of an outgrowth of social and institutional changes brought by the end of feudalism in Britain after the English Civil War in the 17th century. Others believe that innovation in technology caused it. This affected the world because it made everything more reliable and useful. And legit or not legit, terrorism is the cause of the start of the Afghanistan war. Legit.
Alright. Next story is World War I. World War I started when the conflict opened with the German invasion of Belgium and Luxembourg in France. World War I started in 1914 and lasted till 1918. The assassination on June 28, 1914, of Archduke Franz Ferdinand and of Austria, the heir to the throne of Austria-Hungary, is seen as the immediate trigger of the war. World War I changed the world by making four empires and disappear from the map on the European side. One of the most dramatic effects of the war was the expansion of the governmental powers and responsibilities in Britain, France, the United States, and the dominions of the British Empire.
Next story is about World War II. Happened in Germany in 1939 to 1945. It was when Hitler led the Nazis into Germany and killed a whole bunch of Jewish people and more races. It changed the number of people that could still be around today and still be with their families. They killed over 6 million Jews. Some people say that Hitler wasn't evil, he just turned it when he was old. The next story is the Cold War. The Cold War was given the name given to relationships of the primary between USA and the USSR after World War II. They had a conflict about Russia was trying to make nuclear weapons and USA didn't want them to, and so they made a treaty of the nuclear arms. And word of the wise, terrorism is a semantic use of terror, especially as the meaning of coercion.
Our next story is about terrorism. Most people think terrorism is violent acts to create fear, and they are right. As most of you all know, terrorists performed an act of terrorism by hijacking a U.S. passenger jet and crashed into one of the Twin Towers. Then another jet was crashed into the other tower. These towers were tragically brought down. Terrorism has been practiced by a broad array of political organizations for furthering their objectives. This changed the world because countries started building nuclear weapons and bombing each other. truck, a person, and sand dunes.